Welcome to Sonic Poison TV. Today we're having a look at Walk Among Us, the debut album by the Misfits. Walk Among Us originally came out in 1982, released by Ruby Records, following a number of 45s the band had released up until that point. I always seem to forget that Walk Among Us came out so late in the Misfits' original sort of run before they broke up in 83. And I guess this is due to the fact that they had actually recorded 2 albums prior to Walk Among Us being released. Static Age and 12 Hits from Hell were both recorded prior to Walk Among Us, but for various reasons they both weren't released at the time of their recording. So what can I say about Walk Among Us? Album comes in at 13 songs in just under 25 minutes, which is exactly what you want from a punk album, in my opinion. So Walk Among Us, so it doesn't really miss a beat. Starts off with 20 Eyes, which I think just sets the tone for the rest of the album. You could probably say that most of the songs here are classics, but for me, the standouts gotta be I Turned Into a Martian, All Hell Breaks Loose, Hate Breeders, and Skulls. I'd almost describe Walk Among Us as a perfect album, and I'm sure a lot of people would. Obviously, a punk classic would probably be in a lot of people's top 10 punk records of all time. But I just feel like Brain Eaters at the end here. Weird way to finish off the album, in my opinion. Just seems like a bit of a joke song to me, and yeah, I think they could have finished in a stronger way. Maybe if London Dungeon had been included. Alright, so let's get into some of the nerdy details about Walk Among Us. So what we've got here is the first pressing on Ruby Records, with the pink cover, pink logo. So apparently Danzig had plans to originally release this in a number of different coloured covers, but for whatever reason that didn't seem to work out, at least not initially. So first pressings come with a printed inner sleeve. One side here you can see has all the lyrics, so you can sing along while blasting this at home. Then the other side is just a collage of random Misfits photos. I'm not much of a fan of these double-sided printed inner sleeves. They always seem to split at the edges and just get a bit tatty over time. Would much prefer a double-sided insert, but you know, that's just me. So first pressings of Walk Among Us also came with a Misfits Fiend Club order form, I guess you'd describe this as. You can see here there's a bunch of different t-shirts and stuff you could have ordered back in the day. Not sure you'd be able to pick up any of these original t-shirts for the prices listed here on the order form, but it's what it is. So the record itself, pretty standard, black vinyl, red on black labels, which I think look pretty cool. You can tell this is the first press because it has the larger label indent. Not sure what you actually call that or what it's meant to be called, but the later pressings have a smaller indent, which helps kind of differentiate between the two. Not sure how many of these were pressed, but they show up relatively frequently on Discogs and eBay, sites like that. So if you are in the market for a copy, hopefully you can track one down pretty easily. There are also promo copies of the first pressing Walk Among Us. They come with a bunch of different sort of promotional inserts and a poster, I think. You know, they've got the classic cut corner that you often see on promo albums. And if you got one of those and you know want to let it go, reach out, happy to have a chat. Maybe you can arrange a trade or a sale. And so next up we have the second pressing, which you can see here. So I believe the second pressings are almost identical to the first pressings, except obviously, as you can see here, the cover is purple instead of pink. I actually think that this is probably my favorite version of the Walk Among Us cover. I think the colors just really go well together. And it's a shame that they just didn't keep using this for all the subsequent pressings, but it's what it is. So the second pressings also come with the inner sleeve, which again looks pretty much identical, I think, to the first pressing, and also comes with a Fiend Club order form. And here's the vinyl, looks identical to the first pressing. Not sure if there are actually any changes or not. Yeah, pretty cool. And now we move on to the Italian pressing, which you can see here. So the Italian pressing was released on Expanded Music. I'm not actually sure if this came out in the same year as the Thirst pressing. I assume this is a version specifically pressed for the European market, but yeah, couldn't confirm that one way or the other. So there are a few differences with this version of the release. The pink here in the background is slightly darker than that of the Thirst pressing. I think some of the text is maybe different color on the back of the sleeve. And on the spine, the Misfits is actually misspelt as the Misfit. So that's pretty funny. There's also two different versions of the Italian pressing. You've got one with a standard kind of plain looking white label, and then another version that has a black and white label similar to the Thirst pressing, which is what we've got here. So yeah, as you can see, the label here, white text on a black label, looks pretty similar to the Thirst pressing. This is actually probably my favorite version of the label. I don't know if that's a weird thing to have for a record or not, but yeah, I think this one looks pretty cool. Again, not too sure about the pressing information for the Italian pressing, though I do understand that the plain white label version is the more common variant of the two. So I understand the black and white version that we've got here didn't originally come with a printed inner sleeve, but the plain white label version did. So a while ago though, I did manage to grab myself a copy of the inner sleeve for the Italian pressing. It looks almost identical to the Thirst pressing. As you can see here, I think the only difference really is that this is less glossy than the Thirst pressing. Also, when I picked up this, it came with a sleeve as well, just no vinyl. So yeah, I've got an empty sleeve. Would love to pair it up with the white label version one day. So if you've got one and want to let it go, hit me up. I've also paired this up with a spare Fiend Club insert that I had laying around just to complete the set, though I don't think these originally came with the order form. So that's it. That's all the pressings of Walk Among Us that I've got. I've got the covers here so you can see the difference between the Italian pressing and the Thirst pressing. Yeah, not too much difference. I know there are a lot of different represses of this that I haven't shown you here today, but I'm pretty content with these three versions, which I guess are the original version, so got to be happy with those. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on Walk Among Us. Is this your favorite Misfits album? Do you have any of these? Do you have any other pressings I haven't shown you here today? Let me know in the comments. Until next time, cheers.